Guys, welcome back. Today we are talking about how you can make even more money in your business through doing something called customer experience. Now, Ben, you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? That sounds like a lot of corporate jargon. And it is. But the corporates use it for very good reason. Customer experience is something I learned from Jeff Bezos, not personally, but from his books and his teachings and his interviews. And he says at Amazon, the reason they grew so quick is they just focused on customer experience. How can they make the experience for the customer as good and fluid and easy as possible? And now if you look at Amazon, they are so fucking easy to use, it just makes sense to use them. 9 times out of 10, sorry high street brands, they are going to be cheaper. They are going to get it, they're going to deliver it to you sometimes same day, if not next day, on free delivery if you've got Prime. Any problems, you speak to someone, they get it sorted for you. Customer experience, customer service is like 10 out of 10. You just go on your app and you hit 2 fingers and it's done. Like, it's just like they've made the customer experience so fluid, so easy, you feel stupid not using the service. So how do we do that when it comes to video? Well, first, we need to be aware of something called LTV. LTV, which is basically what is your customer's lifetime value. So if a customer works with you once and they pay you £1,000, their lifetime value is £1,000. But if they work with you every month for 10 years and they give you £1,000 every single month, you've got 120 months, that's 120K. So that lifetime value of a customer is 120K because how much are they giving you over their lifetime of them working with you? And when it comes to working this out, it's obviously very hard because you don't know how long a customer is going to work with you for. You don't know how that customer is going to grow and have different marketing budgets or fuck their business and have less marketing budgets. What you can do is you can increase retention and get customers to work with you for longer. So how do we do that? Well, what we do is we have a timeline, okay? And we're going to have inception here. You're not going to be able to read that. Let me not do that. So let's have inception, and over here we have delivery. Now here we're going to have call, then we're going to have pre, then we're going to have prod, then we're going to have post, then we're going to have, let's just do first, okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's being low as well. Like, you can actually put way more into this if I wanted to get autistic with it. But there are 7 steps in the timeline of your customer journey when it comes to production. This applies to video, but you can easily cross this over to photography and design or other creative aspects as a whole, because typically when stuff goes into a creative studio, it goes into pre, prod, and post anyway. So, inception. What is this? This is when the first point of contact with the client or the start of the project happens. So let's say a client drops you a DM in the inbox or they message you on LinkedIn and like, hey, Ben, we are looking to do X, Y, and Z. Do you think that's something you can help with? Sure. Let's have a call. You then move from this one to this one, 1 to 2. You then have a call. You find out more about the project. Is it something you can do? Is it something you want to pitch for? Hopefully, yes. Great. So you pitch for it. They say yes. Then you go into pre-production. Okay, how can we start planning to make sure the production and post-production goes fucking right? Pre-production, for a lot of you out there, is just going to be, oh, how can we get things ready for production? But you should also be thinking, how can we make it easy for post? And how can we make it easy for first delivery? And how can we make the main delivery better for the client by what we do here? This thing sets up everything for the entire timeline of customer experience, and you need to start focusing on it. Everyone says jokingly, but they joke about it, but they still do it. They say fix it in post, right? Fix it in fucking pre, okay? If you nail pre, everything else will just fit into place, and the problems that arise won't really matter because you've sorted them out in pre. So what do I mean by that? What kind of examples can I give you? Why are you making the video? Did you think about that? Did you ask about that? The brief they gave you, they say, oh, we want to make videos to do with recruitment. Why? Obviously, they've got some sort of recruitment problem. What's happened? Why is there a recruitment problem? Well, our last CEO who got fired was terrible at branding. He put some stuff on his fucking LinkedIn and now everyone hates the company. Right. So you have a recruitment problem, but that's because of a branding problem. right? So you see, all of a sudden, you think this is the problem. Actually, it's a larger problem, branding the whole. So they're probably gonna need some sort of brand awareness campaign, or like better fucking visuals and content that's actually gonna help pull them out of that stage the last CEO left them. Now that's just like me spitting off the cuff, but like you need to go deeper with your clients when you're finding out where they're at, what they want to be doing. So I got a weird notification there. Anyway, so pre-production, like spend time in this. Spend time in this, asking the right questions, figuring out what the client wants to do, figure out how you can measure success once you get to here. Because if you get to here and you deliver the video and it's all said and done, how on earth are you going to be able to collect a testimonial and say, Janice, did we deliver on what we said we were going to? Well, yeah, you gave me a video. Who fucking cares? That's not what you want as a testimonial, guys. Anyway, so you go from pre into production. Now it's time to film. Now it's time to shoot. Now it's time to create the actual asset that the client has requested. When you do this, you're either going to be doing it with the client or doing it for the client. Now, production with photography and video typically can involve the client a lot of the time, especially on higher production stuff. They like to be there. They like to feel in control of the creative. So when you do this, it's very important that you have someone on shoot, if you can, who, and this might have to be you as well as the person filming or doing photography, that is going to hold the client's hand and walk them through every step of the way, because clients might think they know what they're talking about. 9 times out of 10, they don't, because the ones who do know what they're talking about, they tend to shut up and let you get on with it because they appreciate you're the expert. You've been hired to do this job. The people that micromanage do not understand the process of production. So you need to walk them through it. You need to give them a bit of hand holding to calm their nerves. Typically, when clients are getting a bit micromanagerial, it's because they're nervous. They're nervous about you fucking up because they don't know if they can fully trust you to deliver yet or to get this right. And if you don't deliver, who does it look bad on? Them, not you. They're just not going to work with you again, which sucks for your business, but that's not why they've hired you. So make sure production, you talk to the client, you communicate with them. Just because they've given you some money here or there's promise of money here, you need to look after the client, make sure they're happy. Now that prod's done, it goes into post. If the client wasn't with you on shoot or production or wherever it was, you need to make sure that every time you go through one of these sectors at the top here, you are notifying the client. And you can do this automatically via things like Zapier and stuff like that, which links to your CRM. So then when you move a job into a different part of a CRM, it will automatically notify your customer. Now, this is really good because especially if you automate it, because it makes the customer feel that they're involved. It makes the customer feel that they're in control. They don't need to chase you to find out where stuff is. They get updates from you every couple of days, sometimes automatically. It tells them where the project's at. When I introduced this, clients fucking loved it. Now you need to do the same. It's basically free to set up with Zapier. So you do the post and you deliver the first draft. Hey, now the client's happy. Now we're getting somewhere. If you did pre correctly, you shouldn't have many problems here. It would be things like logo placement, maybe some subtitle changes, maybe some color correction if they're not quite sure on the grade. That's down to your DOP. And maybe most definitely music change. Okay. But if you've done pre right and you fully understand what the client wants to do, this is normally bang on. Here's the kicker. If you do pre really fucking well and you really understand what they're trying to do and you deliver something off the information from pre and they kick up a fuss, they're fucked, not you, because you dived into it. You can say, hold on, you say that you don't like this, but isn't the goal to do this? Yeah. Well, then how is this not going to get that goal? Right? And you put the ball in their court constantly. And like you just focus on the fact that you've made something that they've asked for. And it's much easier to do that when you've done a really good pre-production. The problem is that most people don't do a good pre. They deliver something they thought the client wanted. The client doesn't want that. They want something a bit different. And now you're both in an awkward conversation of like, I thought you said this. I thought you said that. This is what the brief says. I've misinterpreted the brief wrong. Do a better pre. So you deliver it. That's great. And then there might be a couple of amends and it goes into the delivery. Okay. Every step of this timeline, you want to be talking to your client about how you can make this experience as good as possible. And when you get into delivery, you want to ask them, were there any bits of this timeline that you felt out of touch with as a studio, with me as a videographer? Was there any improvements I could have made along the way that would have made this experience better for you? And whatever answer they give you, write it down and then ask the next client. And when you start seeing patterns, fix them and implement them into the customer success experience. Because if you do this for at least 6 months, your journey will be vastly different. Like I said, when I implemented automation into the milestones, everything changed. I got clients chasing me. It went down like 90% because all of a sudden it was all automated. People knew what was going on, where and when. Like I didn't have to, like, if I was making sure a job was going to hit the deadline, but only just because I was so busy, the client didn't have to get to 2 days before and just be worried about where the project's coming from. Like they had already received an automation. It was already going to get delivered before the deadline. I didn't have to do anything. And that also makes the client feel more at ease. I have before I implemented this, I would send a video to a client like the day before deadline or when they've asked for it. And it's an amazing video, right? And then I asked for feedback. And they said the video was fucking brilliant and it's been received really well. However, they said that my communication on letting them know what stage we were at throughout the project wasn't great and they'd like me to improve that moving forward. Now, I could have been egotistical about that and said, oh, what are you talking about? You got the video, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, the customer was right. And they're not always right, by the way, but the customer was always right. The customer was right in the fact that I could have done better as a producer to keep them informed about where the project was going. And if that for them was a pain point, I should be listening. Okay. So that's how we literally wrap up a timeline on customer experience. We just want to keep iterating this, keep improving this until it feels seamless. Do not overcomplicate it. It needs to remain simple. Simple scales, fancy fails. If you make this fucking complicated and the client doesn't even understand it, remove it. A really cool thing you can do as well, after the call and when you go into pre, you can send out something like this on a sexy PDF or a deck that explains, you know, as well as what it's like to work with you, your minimum term of engagement, how like FAQs, rounds of amends, subtitles, music changes, how all that's going to work in the post-production stage to save the awkwardness. What you can do is you can put something like this into the document and let them know. They will be notified at every single stage moving forward. If they want extra updates regarding anything, to let you know personally, so you can then make a note of that and add it in. Remember, customer experience is as important as the actual product. If they don't have a good time, if they don't have a good experience with you, and like if you deliver the video photography or the design or whatever and it's 10 out of 10, but the experience to get that from you was fucking horrendous, then the product as a whole is a 5 out of 10. If they get something from you which is absolutely dog shit, like a 1 out of 10, but they absolutely loved working with you, then the project's a 5 out of 10, even though you've given them horse shit because they liked you so much. So you could imagine the power if you're already doing something where you're delivering something decent. If you just started focusing on actually being a decent human being and decent at business, how much more you could actually improve. And once you improve this, the LTV goes up, your attention goes up. Customers will come back and keep working with you for longer and you'll make more money. Like, there is nothing harder than getting new clients. But do you know what's really fucking easy? Retaining them. Okay, guys, that was a good video today. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.